Welcome to Finance Deep Dive. The US economy has this huge problem. It's like there's a built-in speed limit that could seriously cap its growth for, well, decades to come. But what if the solution wasn't some super complex policy? What if it was just people? Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful and, often debated economic force.
So here's the central puzzle that economists and policymakers are wrestling with. With an aging population, how can the U.S. economy possibly keep growing strong? But there's a really crucial catch to that question.
Right, it's one thing to just grow. But the real trick is growing without kicking off runaway inflation. It is a super delicate balancing act, and as we're about to see, one specific factor might just be the key to the whole thing.
And that factor, as all the research shows, is immigration. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how it acts as fuel for the economic engine, starting with the core problem it's really perfectly positioned to solve.
So first up, let's unpack this whole U.S. growth puzzle. To really get the solution, we have to have a crystal clear picture of the fundamental hurdle the country's facing. And this isn't about some temporary market cycle. We're talking about a deep, structural, demographic challenge.
The core issue is something economists call a structural headwind. Think of it not as a temporary storm, but a long-term shift. The massive baby boomer generation, the one that powered decades of growth, is aging, and that's creating a kind of natural speed limit on the entire economy.
And this is exactly how it works. See, for an economy to grow, you basically need one of two things. Either you need more workers, or you need the workers you have to be more productive. The big problem, though, is that right now, retirements are just outpacing the number of new folks entering the labor force. And the result of that is actually pretty simple. Fewer workers means a lower potential for economic output. The engine, just like you see here, is basically being starved of the fuel, the labor that it needs to run at full capacity.
Okay, so if the problem is a lack of fuel, how do you fix it? Well, that brings us to the most direct impact of immigration, its role in literally fueling the labor force.
At its most basic level, the logic is really straightforward. Immigration directly expands the number of available workers in the economy. When you need more people to build things, create things, and provide services, this is the most direct way to get them.
And here's a key detail that makes this so incredibly effective. Immigrants are disproportionately of working age. They aren't just a random sample of a population. They tend to show up ready to contribute to the workforce almost immediately.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract economic concept. We see it in the real world every day. Immigrants are filling critical labor gaps across absolutely vital sectors, everything from healthcare and construction to technology and agriculture.
And here is how we circle right back to that inflation puzzle from the beginning. When there are enough workers to fill the jobs, businesses don't have to get into these crazy bidding wars for talent, and that helps keep consumer prices a lot more stable.
But you know what? The story doesn't stop with just filling jobs. The economic impact actually goes way deeper, acting as what you could call an innovation multiplier. It's about more than just adding bodies. It's about making the entire economy more productive.
The key insight here is that having a diversity of skills actually boosts overall productivity. It makes sense, right? When you have a wider range of talents and specializations, it allows for a more efficient division of labor, letting everyone focus on what they do best.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this works at both ends of the spectrum. You've got high-skilled immigrants who are driving these incredible cutting-edge breakthroughs. At the same time, other immigrants fill essential roles that actually free up native-born workers to specialize in other areas, which just raises everybody's productivity.
This, right here, is one of the most powerful insights from all the data. Immigrants don't just fill jobs, they are way more likely to create them. This entrepreneurial spirit is like a massive accelerator for the whole economy. And as you can see, these new businesses create this amazing positive ripple effect. They hire local workers, they increase competition, which pushes every business to get better, and they introduce all sorts of new products and ideas into the marketplace.
So we've looked at the impact on labor and on innovation. Now let's zoom out and look at the macroeconomic impact. Let's get that big picture view of what this all means for the U.S. economy. Here it is, the big macroeconomic formula. When you expand the number of workers and you make the entire workforce more productive, you fundamentally increase the economy's maximum possible output. You're literally raising the entire country's economic ceiling. Of course, it's really important to acknowledge the whole debate here. A lot of the public discussion tends to focus on short-term pressures, things like local costs or competition for certain jobs.
But what the source material really emphasizes is that when you analyze the long-term data, the evidence consistently points to a clear, net positive economic impact.
So the conclusion from the research is pretty clear. While there are definitely some initial costs, the long-term economic benefits, driven by growth, innovation, and tax contributions, they just overwhelmingly outweigh them. And that leads to a stronger, more fiscally stable economy for everyone.
All right, let's tie this all together. Let's look at the chain reaction, the whole process that turns immigration into such a powerful economic catalyst.
It's really a clear four-step chain of growth. First, you get labor expansion, increasing the available workforce. Second, that boosts productivity and innovation. Third, that energy fuels more entrepreneurship and new job creation. And the final result? A higher potential GDP for the entire nation. It really is a powerful catalyst for shared prosperity.
If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe to Finance Deep Dive. It motivates us to keep posting.